Do you see that?
Yeah. Did we just stop recording?
It's
And
still
then now we,
recording. It just did a three,
okay.
two, one. I guess we'll see. It's still
Good.
recording. I'll cut that part out. Um, so because I've had that experience, I think I was able to I was able to pivot sooner than later. But
Hmm.
for most people, and even me in the beginning, before experiencing that, I was so hard headed that I just had to keep pounding away at it
Yeah.
until I like put my head up and realized like there's a better way to do this.
Hmm. I think that's what's so interesting because I think a lot of people are like, well, I've heard consistency, like I just got to keep doing the thing over and over and over again, even if it feels wrong, even if it like is draining me of energy, even if I feel like it's the wrong thing to do. And so I think it's a really great lesson in figuring out when to stop, you know? Like I feel like so often it's like just like keep hustling, keep doing the thing, like keep working really hard, even though you're feeling unfulfilled.
Yeah.
And
Oh
so
yeah.
yeah.
I I think that is we use this a lot with our clients is the analogy of chopping down a tree like the two men with an axe. All right, like well, one guy was just chopping away, chopping away, chopping away, like no rest, no break, just kind of full sprint, trying to cut down his tree first. While the other guy, he would take a few swings, boom, 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 take a break, stretch, get a little drink of water, sharpen his blade, sharpen his
Mm-hmm.
axe, and then go at it again. So he made every strike, every blow to the tree, there was efficiency. His blade was sharp, his muscles were strong. There was more value rather than just going at it, just going at it. Now, I think, and I may be going on a tangent here, but I think when people hear that, some people will hear that and be like, "Oh, that's an excuse to slack off." Like, "Oh,
Mm-hmm.
like I'll take two strikes at it." I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna sit back. All right, cool." But realistically, I'm like, "What? Like, what do you mean? Like you're gonna take a break now? Like you what? And they're too busy sharpening the axe and then taking one hit at it and then sharpening it again. They don't take enough effort. So I think it's a combination of both, right? You have to know when your blade is getting dull, when you got to stop and make sure you sharpen it. And I think it's just a level of self-awareness.
Definitely. That's such a great analogy. I think that's really powerful. Like knowing when your blade is getting dull, knowing when to sharpen your blade, and also knowing when to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a huge level of self-awareness. And like kudos to you for testing out your identity. Like that's what I feel like you're doing, or you did, is like you're testing, am I really who I say I am?
Yeah.
And putting that into effect for basically a week to see like what happens, and then sharing those results with us, because I feel like so many people are going to listen or watch and be like, okay, am I really who I say I am? How can I
Mm-hmm.
test that out? How can I prove it to myself? And I also really liked how you were open to the answer. Like even if the answer was not what you had hoped for, like just getting the answer was really what you wanted to see out of this.
Yeah. And I appreciate that acknowledgement. I think that's what we just need as part of this whole personal development thing is you just can't be afraid of the answer. The
Mm-hmm.
reason why people don't like to ask themselves hard questions is because they're not prepared to receive the hard answers.
Yeah.
Like we see it all the time when we start, asking clients, why are you doing this? Why are you starting this journey? Right? A lot of them don't want to go into the deeper side of things, but when they do like own up to it, it makes a world of difference. And I think that is the whole meaning, the real deeper side of knowing your why.
Mm.
Everyone says it, know your why. Simon Sinek's book, his video, everyone quotes it. Everyone uses that, that YouTube video for inspirational things for corporations. I've seen it hundreds of times. But people like, I know my why. And then they stop. I think we need to challenge that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible, right? So I'm trying to overcomplicate it, but why is that your why?
Mm-hmm.
And you get an answer. Is that really? Is that really what you think? And you'll feel it, right? You just know if it's real or not. You'll just know it in the inside. And I get this is probably a little bit more foo-foo for some people that are not used to this type of content, but that's really how I operate. People who know me, people that are around me, they know like I keep it as real as possible. I keep it as plain and simple as possible. I don't like to overcomplicate things. I don't like to put, too much like jargon on things like, hey, this is how it is. This is how I see it. What do we do? Right. And that's part of really knowing your why is like getting deeper and really understanding what that core is all about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's so good. Such a great reminder for people, especially like if you have a business, you probably have like your why as part of your mission statement.
Yeah.
And I think it's always great to revisit those things, or even if you don't have a business, like knowing the reason why you do anything and challenging that, which is a good thing. Challenge is a good thing, just
Mm-hmm.
to verify that you are who you say you are and you're doing what you're doing for the right reasons.
Yeah. I think we let other people define us. We let other people put a label on us, put an understanding to try to simplify us to a little box. But we don't take enough time to really dive deeper into ourselves and exercise that self-awareness. And people are like, listen, if you're listening or watching this right now, and you're like, dude, this dude's freaking crazy. This is not for me. You're just not ready yet. Let's just be. You're not in a place to receive whatever that answer may be because you got to be open to it. You really have to be open to receiving an answer that you're uncomfortable with, something that's going to challenge this identity that you've built for so long. And a lot of
Mhm.
people don't want that because they're comfortable in this identity. They're comfortable in this box,
Yeah.
in this comfort zone, because they understand all the nooks and crannies of it. They don't want to expand anywhere else. For me, I couldn't live here. Even if I expanded out here, I know there's more. And now, because I gave myself that wiggle room to explore that area that I don't know, it's like boom, it expanded everything so much more, and it gave me certainty as to who I am and why I do the things I do.
Wow. So if you had one challenge for people that are listening or watching today, what would it be?
Ooh, I don't know if I necessarily recommend that challenge to people because people that not that you can't do it, but it is challenging. It is
Yeah.
really challenging. I would just encourage people to exercise a little bit more self-awareness. Right? I think we don't do that enough. We're so focused on the external. I mean, we don't look enough into ourselves and why we react the way we do, what our real motivators are, what do we really stand for, what our core values are, what do I really want in my life. Because the money, cars, houses, all that stuff is great. And I do want them, but they're not my primary. They're not my primary motivator in what I do and why I do things. And me, I'm very driven by that why. If I understand my why, if I understand that core, I'm not gonna lie, I operate at a different level. Like I have that certainty that is unshakable.
Hmm.
And I encourage everyone to explore that within yourself. Ask yourself the hard questions. Challenge some of the norms that you believe. Like maybe you think you're weak. Maybe you think, this whole what 30 minutes has been around this idea of identity and limiting beliefs. Pick, well, not pick, well, you probably don't even know, but take some time to know some of your limiting beliefs. And
Yeah.
then pick one or two and challenge those.
Hmm.
And I guarantee you're going to be like, wow, maybe it's not as limiting as I thought.
Right.
Actually, that limiting belief actually turned out to be one of my greatest strengths.
Mm. Wow. That's powerful.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, this was a lot of fun. And like, I was a little nervous to share it. I mean, obviously, I'll share it with Renata because we were talking about it yesterday. But it was a little scary to think about, like, we're going to put that out into the world.
Hmm. I
But
think it was
because,
so
and this is a
cool.
great, what's that?
I thought it was so cool. I think it's such a great experiment to try.
I mean, it was for me, right? But I'm like, how are other people going to perceive it? But here's the
Mm.
thing, like, and this is part of, being unapologetically me, exploring my boundaries, exploring the things that made me uncomfortable. I know I do things not just to be great or achieve these high levels of greatness or whatever, but I do it to represent what's possible for people.
Mm.
How could someone who's got no college degree, who's got minimal life experience, and moved out of his house, became a cop at 22, again no degree, and like, how did that person go from that kid go from that to doing what we do now, helping other people change their lives?
Mm.
And when I saw that own transformation in myself, I was like, dude, if I can do it, everyone should be able to do it.
Definitely. I completely agree. And I think that's one of the best things about what we do is that we kind of unlock that potential in other people by showing them what is possible. So, yeah. So I'm excited for people to listen. I'm excited for people to look at their limiting beliefs and figure out, is it a strength? Is it a weakness? Or is it something that I can reprogram? So this has been a fascinating call for me.
Thank you for just putting it out there and like, hey, let's make it a podcast. I was like, okay. But I appreciate it. You asked some really great questions, and I appreciate you listening. And for everyone listening and watching, I hope this added value. I hope that you resonated with some point in this message, that it creates enough action in you to
Mm-hmm.
change, to
Yeah.
challenge, and just move forward and keep growing. Right? It's all about just growing 1%, getting a little bit better every day.
Yes.
So thank you guys. We appreciate your time, and we will see you guys next week.